All right, JAG University, episode 14.
Let's do this.
We're here knee deep. We're knee deep here with Leo Portes, Chief Insurance Officer, JAG Insurance Group. Leo, one thing I wanted to talk about is risk management.
Okay.
Right? I know we do things different and we want to get into that value added stuff later, but it's one of those funny things that I got into insurance 15 years ago. And risk management is like that term that everybody throws around. Heck, I even think I debated putting it on my business card, which is funny, until someone said, wait a minute, you're not a risk manager. So I think that's one of those, just misconceptions. Everyone throws it out there. Can you explain to me, you're a risk manager. What is a risk manager?
So let's start with the official definition of risk management. The assessment and quantification of financial loss to a client. That's the non-layman term.
Okay, that is that literally textbook definition.
Literally textbook. Risk management is such a wide has a wide variety of definitions within the word itself.
Which I think why it gets lost.
Yeah,
right?
it gets lost and it gets
easily
thrown out very loosely, but it encompasses so many things. I'll give you an example. Risk management division has a loss control division. And I can go into it a little bit later as to what that means. And then you go into the claims. And you have the variety of different claims.
Where the magic happens.
Well,
we fulfill the contract.
Workers' compensation, general liability, property, and so many other factors. You get vendor management, which is looking at contractual obligations of your clients, making sure that those vendors that come onto their property are properly insured and transferring the risk over to those vendors, not taking it on yourself.
Yeah, right.
Looking at how to distribute the overall cost of insurance. That's part of being a risk manager. Evaluating a program, whether you're going to use a captive, you're going to finance your policy. You're going to
the creative program.
The creation and distribution of a program, how to best structure the program, the evaluation of policies to make sure you have the best terms. I mean, again, it's a very vast amount of
right, and it's like the different levels from you said up front, right, being from being proactive
Correct.
to then being reactive on a claim,
Correct.
and then the continuous evolution of managing those risks during the policy term. So as far as value, let me ask you in the risk management side, how come you don't think more agencies are actually investing in it?
The problem with this is it's a very unique skill set for you to be a well-rounded risk manager. Because of the variety of things that you have to know about insurance.
Even types of insurance policies too, right?
Even types of insurance policies.
Comp, auto,
you have to
liability.
understand what the exposures are for each line of coverage. To give you an idea, when I was with as their senior risk manager, there were 143 different policies ranging for 43 different types of coverages. And you have to understand each one of those and not only understand what the exposure is, what the risk is, but how to execute once an incident occurs with that policy.
Right.
And that includes how to, handle that claim, whether I'm going to send that claim in or not to a carrier. Once that claim gets established, how am I going to provide my feedback in order to manage that claim? If it goes into litigation, again, it goes into a whole new world.
It's such and maybe it's because, and you're explaining it in depth, how much goes into it. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes in layman terms, policyholders assume insurance agents do that work, and or the insurance company does that work, right? It's kind of that huge gap.
Yes.
It's all encompassed, but I think most people assume, and why it's thrown out there, hey, you're my risk manager, right? Manage my risk. The truth is, it's so much more into that.
Correct. So that again, the risk manager is a combination of your insurance company, your agent, your adjusters, your inspectors, surveys. It's a very, very, very vast and wide ranging set of skills that not all agencies have the correct personnel to manage that type of. They segment the service that they provide.
Yeah.
So they might have a risk management division, and they'll have somebody that knows a bit of loss control. They'll have some low level claims advocates, some high level claims advocates. But what we provide here is a very, very unique amount of services encompassed in one. So I've, based on my experiences outside and having been a large client at having led claims teams as director of claims for insurance companies, and having worked for other agencies, I understand the dance.
Right. The slow dance, right?
Correct.
The ebbs
The
and
slow
flows.
dance that plays out within these three points of the triangle or ends of a triangle. And what we do is grab all the best practices that I know that works with within each one of these types of organizations and put it to use in providing value add for
it's a
clients.
dynamic approach of a constant flowing situation.
Yeah.
And then I think we always encourage, because again, risk management, depending on the clients, what are their needs, we have to identify to what level.
Yeah.
But some insurance companies, we have good ones, they'll throw out there the loss control that they provided.
Yeah.
But then there's a second step of how do you actually execute that, right? So one thing is getting flyers and reading papers, which is great. I mean, we encourage everyone to take advantage of that, but then it becomes, how do we actually manage the risk? Not just go from A to B, right? Who's going to bridge that gap?
I'll be safe to assume that a good 75 to 80% of insurance purveyors, or clients, do not take advantage of lost and embedded services that are within their policies.
Yeah.
So that's where the risk
I would say
management.
95.
So again, I was being very
You're being conservative.
ultra conservative.
Right.
That's one of the components of the risk management division. We try to take advantage of those services. We look at each client, look at their risk, look at their policy, and say, okay, these people have a risk management division that can do walkthroughs, but we'll come along.
Right.
So we'll go there and pre-loss or pre-binding, let's say, not even pre-loss, pre-binding, we'll go there. Let's say it's a new client. We'll go visit the facility. And we'll look through and identify exposures that they may have, provide some corrective measures and recommendations for that, in order for when that inspector for the insurance company comes in,
it looks at the report card looks even better.
The report card looks even better.
Yeah, and I think even just not to get off topic, but going into what we're seeing now in a hard market and the insurance prices going up, these are the things behind the scenes that help create. I use it from a defensive standpoint, defend the current program, because when it happens, your report card's going to look better down the road as far as to be able to sustain your pricing on your insurance policy.
Yeah, and understanding, once I do that walkthrough with, let's say I did my pre-walk and a lot of things were cleaned up, even if there's findings during the walk with the carriers, when they're either evaluating the risk or they've written the risk and they're looking to kind of come down on the client to get corrective measures, I am able to have a dialogue with those loss control experts and say, maybe we want to leave that off the report. I'm going to have the client take care of it. Or I don't think it's such a big deal. So, and this is why.
It's so much more transparent, the process.
Yeah.
It's that missing piece that's so overlooked and really underserved, which is, again, why I feel so strongly about, and you've taught me a lot about risk management, right? I thought you wore a hard hat and boots and I went out there and told somebody to wear gloves. You're a risk manager. That was 15 years ago. So I go back to that fast.
That's the old school.
That's the old school one. No, but risk management, it's funny. I going back into it, it's one of those value added stuff. Not only we're providing here at JAG and you're leading the charge, and this is what's separating us from other people. But really, if you're out there looking at it, take advantage of the resources you have. Not everybody's needs the same. Not everybody has the same kind of threshold. But risk management is the future.
And part of the other component is I'll give you a specific type of risk. Let's say that you have large condominium associations. Part of being a risk manager is evaluating their contracts or their bylaws. You look at the bylaws, you make sure that the policies that they're being sold match up with those bylaws, that you are doing the right thing and you're not getting into legal trouble. You'll be surprised the disconnect between the bylaws that we're seeing in new clients and the policies that they've been buying for years. The overall exposure that they've under the table been exposed to is amazing to me, that even general counsel doesn't catch at times.
Well, associations are interesting as well because those things are set up in essence, right? But there's a lot of moving parts, whether change in management companies, change of attorneys representing the board, also boards changing themselves. So when that's done annually and the boards do flip, it's kind of an assumption what was done before was done correctly. So that's where the risk management, again, the proactive. I think nobody likes insurance, right? Nobody really trusts the process. And because no one really opens the hood, right, and does a deep dive, that creates a little bit, a little bit of a just disconnect with everybody, right? A little bit of a fear. And I think that driving factor of being transparent and proactive defines risk management, not just when the claim happens, but right before.
And one of the funny things that I felt as a risk manager for UM was how much they feared risk management when you went in and had conversations.
It's a bad word.
Risk management is here.
I'm gonna get in trouble.
But then we were also those folks that when something happened, they ran to us for help.
Right.
So it's a unique set of
it's a unique,
experiences that you go through.
No, and it's interesting. Like, and I just love learning more about it. That continued evolution of risk management is something that we're really excited about.
I mean, we're here to educate the consumers and take that veil off. Create that trust. And try to connect with the clients at a different level. I think that's the best approach, the best way that I can describe how we're using the risk management resources. Make them happy on the back end, taking a huge load off their backs, but on the front end, explaining to them the process and helping them clean up their image to kind of polish the risk for those underwriters. So I'm excited as to seeing what we're doing here.
Nice.